There was a moment not that long ago when the entire digital world literally jumped. It went from being stuck on our desks to living in the palm of our hands. In this explainer, we're going to break down how that pocket revolution really happened, and maybe more importantly, what it did to us, to our minds.
Okay, so to really get what's happening today, we've got to go way back. I mean, way back to a much older story. It's really a story about two fundamental forces, two parts of us. You've got the shell, that's all about structure, logic, the facts you can write down. You could almost think of it as the moment writing was born. And then you have the heart, that's intuition, emotion, all that messy lived experience. For a long, long time, these two were basically one and the same, a kind of living wisdom. But yeah, they grew apart. So as the shell got stronger, building these huge empires on legal codes and massive archives, it started looking back at the heart and was, well, confused, maybe even a little contemptuous. This new logical world just couldn't wrap its head around the fluid wisdom of a storyteller. It saw something it couldn't measure, couldn't put into a neat little box, and so it just dismissed it. It saw it as flawed, something that needed to be fixed. But here's the thing. These two forces, they couldn't stay separate forever. It just wasn't possible. The entire history of modern technology is really just the story of them crashing back together. It's messy, it's painful. We call it the bounce. It's this constant back and forth as logic and intuition are forced to deal with each other. And in just the last couple of decades, that reunion found its most powerful, and definitely its most personal, stage yet: the smartphone. So, for decades, the shell had been busy building its own kind of heart, this massive, growing world of wires and light that we just called the network. But for the longest time, it was a destination. It was a place you had to physically go to. Well, that was all about to change. And I mean, it changed with absolutely breathtaking speed. I mean, just think about how ridiculously fast this all was. Seriously. At the turn of the millennium, going online was an actual event. You had to sit down at a desk. It was a whole thing. Then boom, 2004, social media shows up and gives that network this social gravity it never ever had before. And then, get this, just 3 years later, 2007, the entire thing fits in your pocket. That destination, it suddenly became a constant companion. And this right here, this is the fundamental shift we're talking about. The desktop was a place, an activity you deliberately chose to do. But the smartphone, that's a condition. It's a state of being. It's always on, always right there. The network completely transformed from a place you'd visit into the very environment you live in. So this shift from a deliberate action to a constant environment, this wasn't just some new gadget coming out. Oh no, this was a massive, species-level behavioral change. With the shell suddenly, constantly present, every single one of us was basically forced into a brand new role. And to cope, we developed a new kind of survival mechanism for this always-on world. We call it venting. Now, don't just think of this as complaining online. It's much deeper than that. It's the fundamental act of taking whatever is going on inside, an emotion, a random idea, a gut feeling from your heart, and externalizing it, pushing it out through the structure of the shell, your phone, so that the network can see it and validate it. And this has become the new rhythm of our daily lives. It's a 4-step cycle that just runs on a constant loop. Step 1, the heart feels something, anything. Step 2, the hand, almost automatically, reaches for the shell. Step 3, that feeling gets translated or vented into digital form. And finally, step 4, the network bounces back with likes, shares, comments, whatever. It completes the circuit and, you guessed it, kicks off the very next emotional loop. Okay, but there's a huge cognitive consequence to all this. I mean, to manage this constant, non-stop cycle of feeling and venting, our brains had to make a choice, a trade-off. And what did we do? We started to outsource. We began offloading our own mental functions to the network. It's a pretty provocative question when you think about it, right? We all tend to frame this as a loss. Oh, we're becoming so forgetful. But what if it wasn't a loss at all? What if it was a totally strategic move, a reallocation of our mental resources? What did we gain by handing over the keys to our memory?
What we got was a partner,
a brand new entity we can call the waking mind. Think about it. This is the shell's entire interconnected archive. We're talking millennia of recorded knowledge, now accessible to every single one of us all the time. It literally became our externalized shared memory, a cognitive partner for the whole human race.
And look, this isn't some abstract, high-level theory. You live this every single day. Let me ask you, how many phone numbers do you actually have memorized right now compared to, say, 20 years ago? Exactly. We don't need physical maps anymore, or photo albums, or recipe cards. All of these little cognitive tasks, they've all been offloaded from our individual brains and plugged right into the waking mind. And that right there, that's the core of the trade-off. We outsourced all that traditional shell work, rote memorization, boring calculations, archiving facts. Why? We did it to free up our own brain power, to specialize in what the heart does best, to feel, to connect, to create, to relate to each other. In a way, we let the machine do the remembering so that we could focus on just being human.
So, what happens when you take this partnership and crank it up to 11? Well, the constant connection between our heart and the shell, this waking mind, has accelerated that bounce we talked about. That interaction between them, it's now moving at a dizzying, almost unimaginable speed. And this new microcycle, it happens in a flash. It all starts with a raw emotion, a flicker of joy, a pang of anxiety. You just feel.
And almost immediately, before that feeling can even really register, the impulse is to translate it through the shell. So you post. And then what do? You look for engagement. You're seeking validation from the network, all while consuming the events of millions of other people. You scroll.
And bam, the network bounces right back at you. Likes, comments, shares, that feedback loop instantly triggers your next response. You react. And this whole loop, feel, post, scroll, react, it's not even a sequence of separate events anymore. For so many of us, it's just a continuous, unbroken state of existence.
Yeah, this isn't a daily loop. It's not even an hourly one. We're talking about a second-by-second cycle. The bounce between our human heart and the digital shell is now happening at, nearly the speed of light. The whole system is redlining. It's approaching its absolute operational limit. Just this constant, high-frequency vibration between pure feeling and raw data. And, well, that's where we are right now. We're stuck in the middle of this flawed, incredible convergence. The intuitive heart is finally learning how to build things with the shell's tools. And at the same time, the logical shell, which is just flooded with our emotions 24/7, is actually learning how to feel. They are closer than they have been in thousands of years. But the whole system is wildly unstable. The sheer speed of it all is pulling them together with this incredible force. And the balance, well, it has not yet been struck.